A warm welcome to the English Literature students of BA Part 1. And this lecture is specially meant for BA Part 1 English Literature students. And I'm dealing with your first paper, that is Poetry and Drama. And today, this lecture is in continuation to the earlier lecture, which was held on Song of Radha the Milkmaid, a poem written by Sarojini Naidu. Students, this actually earlier I had interpreted the poem for you, and we had line to line explanation. And so today I have taken these notes from EnglishSummary.com. I have given you the reference. First of all, I will be reading this beautiful poem for you. Okay? I carried my curds to the Mathura, how softly the heifers were lowing. I wanted to cry, who will buy the curds that is white as the clouds in the sky when the breezes of Shravan, that is monsoon season, are blowing. But my heart was so full of your beauty, beauty of Lord Krishna. Beloved, they laughed as I cried without knowing, Govinda, 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 Govinda. How softly the river was flowing. I carried the pots to the Mathura tide. How gaily the rowers were rowing. My comrades called, Ho, let us dance, let us sing, and wear saffron garments to welcome the spring and pluck the new birds that are blowing. But my heart was so full of your music, beloved, they mocked when I cried without knowing. Govinda, 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 Govinda. How gaily the river was flowing. I carried my gifts to the Mathura shrine. How brightly the torches were glowing. I folded my hands at the altars to pray. O shining ones, guard us by night and by day. And loudly the conch shells were blowing. But my heart was so lost in your worship, beloved. They were worth when I cried without knowing. Govinda, 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 Govinda. How bright the river was flowing. Now, see, this particular poem, actually, Naidu, most of the poems she has written, she was a freedom fighter, she was the first governor of Uttar Pradesh, and her birthday is also celebrated as Women's Day in India. So we should be proud, and she is also known as the Kokila, the Nightingale of India, because her voice was so sweet, okay, and it was so enchanting. Now, in this particular poem, as the title itself indicates, Song of Radha, the Milkmaid. As soon as the name Radha is taken, so we know Govinda's name has to be there. So now in this poem, Radha, she is going to Mathura to sell her curds, but unlike others, unlike her what you say companions, unlike her mates, she is not concerned about the worldly affairs. She is not concerned that she has to go and sell her curd and she has to earn money, but rather she has to earn the devotion, she has to earn the love of Lord Krishna. Okay, so the poetess has used beautiful similes, and all the similes are from nature. Natural images are there, and as soon as when you read this poem, you are reminded of our Indian culture. You are reminded of our Indian, what you say, epics and our Indian gods. So this is a very interesting poem. So, Radha, she says, I carried my curds to the Mathura. She is going to sell her curd to the Mathura. Mathura fair she is going. Mathura is the birthplace of Lord Krishna. So, but her main concern is not to sell the curd. Her main concern is to have the darshan of Lord Krishna. Okay, how softly the heifers, the cows were lowing, but everything. Sometimes when we hear the voice, the noise made by cattle or this worldly noise, we are disturbed. But rather, you find her to be very undisturbed, and she is in a peaceful mood because she is having peace, and peace, which comes to her because of her devotion to Lord, and everything seems to be very beautiful in nature for her. I wanted to cry, she says. So, to quote, who will buy the curds that is white as the clouds in the sky? So, there is similarly, curds have been compared to the moving clouds in the sky. In the sky, clouds are moving because of the monsoon season. So it is a beautiful description. So when the breezes of Shravan season are blowing, and unquote. But my heart was so full of your beauty. Your pronoun here stands for Lord Krishna. So, O Lord Krishna, my heart was so full of your beauty, beloved, that I was crying your name. People are more interested in, adorning themselves with saffron clothes, buying, plucking flowers for the temple to offer. But she is not concerned about these worldly things, material things, because she has offered her whole, what you say, her whole spirit, it is lost in the devotion of Lord Krishna. That is what. So they laughed. Everybody is laughing at her as I cried without knowing. So, you find the mockery by the world as how they are making fun of me. But she is not bothered. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. How softly the river was flowing. Even the river which is flowing, where there is tide in the river. So even that seems to be very soft to her. Why? Because of the beauty of Lord Krishna. My comrades, her companions called her, let us dance, let us sing. And they are wearing all saffron garments, okay, kesar garments, to welcome the spring. They are plucking the new buds that are blowing. But her heart was so full of the music of Lord Krishna, they mocked. Now see the word mocked. They are making fun of me, okay? But I cried without knowing. So she is not concerned about what others are making fun of her, because she is more lost in the world of Lord Krishna's devotion. So how gaily, even the river which is in tides, but even that seems to her to be flowing very softly. How gaily the river is flowing. I carried my gifts to the Mathura shrine. So her gift is not only the curd which she is going to sell, because her main motto is not to sell the curd. Her main motto is to reach the Lord Krishna. Okay. I folded my hands at the altars to pray. Everybody is folding hands to pray to Lord. O shining ones. So what is her prayer to God? O shining ones, that is, O Lord Krishna, guard us by night and by day. So she is not concerned about the dangers of the world, because she knows I have surrendered myself to Lord. And loudly the conch shells were blowing in the temple. But my heart was so lost in your worship, beloved. They were worth. Now see, she knows the world is mocking at her. But she says, I know what is the value of my getting lost into your thoughts. It is worth, she says. They were worth when I cried without knowing. That is, voluntarily it is happening. Okay, involuntarily it is happening. Govinda, Govinda, how bright the river was flowing. So just to read out the note for you here from EnglishSummary.com, so that you have a better comprehension of this poem. The poem Songs of Radha, the Milkmaid, written by Sarojini Naidu, is about the deep love of Radha for her beloved Krishna. In the poem, Radha is a milkmaid who is taking curd to Mathura fair for selling it. While traveling, she goes into the thoughts of Krishna and cries his name repeatedly, which makes others laugh at her. She cannot sell the curd and goes to Mathura shrine and offers it to God and prays for their love. The poem has been divided into 3 main stanzas, having 9, 10, and 11 lines respectively. In the first stanza, Radha says that she once carried curd for selling in Mathura fair. It is the same place where Lord Krishna, her beloved, was born. On the way, she sees heifers, cows lowing, that is, mowing very softly. She had planned to sell curd by loudly saying, who will buy curd which is as white clouds which float in the sky because of blowing of Shravan monsoon breezes. Note that the poet comparing the beauty of two different things, curd and clouds of monsoon. However, she could not do what she planned, because her plan was to sell the curd, whereas now her plan is just to offer her whole being, to Lord Krishna. According to her, her heart was filled with the thoughts of beautiful Krishna, her beloved, and she started crying. Govinda, without knowing, is the other name of Krishna. Seeing her doing this, people around her started laughing at her. They mock at her. In the last line, Radha says that the river in which her boat was flowing very softly. Radha says so because her love for Krishna makes everything around her look beautiful. In this stanza, Radha again says that she carried the pots full of curd to Mathura tide on the river in the boat, the rowers rowing in a cheerful manner. The comrades, those traveling with Radha, ask her to dance, sing, and wear saffron garments to welcome the spring, and also pluck new birds of flowers which were blooming around them. But she is not concerned because her main she doesn't have to offer, she doesn't have to wear those particular clothes or carry those flowers, but she is carrying her devotion. That is what is very spiritual about this poem. However, Radha was still in the thoughts of her beloved's Govinda's melodious music, and she again started crying his name repeatedly, which made others mock at her. However, Radha does not seem to have bothered by them. Instead, she watches the river flowing cheerfully. In the final stanza, Radha says that she uh, she carried her gifts to the Mathura shrine. The torches were glowing brightly. She then folded her hands in the temple to pray for her protection as well as of her beloved Govinda. So, when the conch shells were blowing in the temple, so everybody is listening and getting engrossed there. Again, she is not concerned about worldly affairs, and she is not concerned whether priests are praying. She is in her own world of devotion. So the conch shells were blowing loudly. However, Radha's heart was lost in the worship of her beloved Govinda. She again started saying the name of Govinda repeatedly, which angers the priest in the temple. So that, but she says, see the last line, she says, yes, that when I was lost, Lord Krishna, in you, it was all worth, when I cried Govinda, Govinda. So, students, I end my lecture here. Thank you for your patience today. Thank you.